So this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth, and we have the moonrise happening any second now from this vantage point, and the sunset in a little while. I'll show you the numbers in a moment. I suspect the moon, I didn't see it come out of the ocean recently, but I'm going to open up my Tide app. This is the Tides Near Me app. Apparently the moon's already up. Okay. These are the numbers for the day. It's 7 minutes ago it would be visible at 99%. Because there's so much light, if it's over the water it'll be hard to see, but it was reportedly going to be a blood moon. And 99%. You can contact me anytime. When I share through the Truth Network, I'm exposing the liars and the truth tellers. Had an interesting video this morning. It was about 3 hours long. Apparently it went black about halfway through. No video. Looks like we're at high tide and somebody's in trouble. Somebody is in trouble. So one of the most important questions that I have for you is, where will you spend eternity and why? It's a big deal. We got something out in the ocean here. I'm not sure what it is. Personal watercraft. And that is less than 2 miles away. Where the sun and the moon appear and vanish on the horizon, and their duration of visibility indicates that they are in fact moving above the stationary and level earth, just as the Bible proclaims. So I'm on the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier here in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And that is the Myrtle Beach skyline in the distance there. About 25 to 30 miles away. This is a south-facing beach that I'm on. The pier faces due south, and the lighting is pretty good to see the distant structures. We've got a diurnal tide here. Tonight it's a 5.9 foot tide. I've captured the sun appearing in the clouds on several occasions. I'll put local sun on this video as well. It doesn't take much cloud to block out the sun. The water, or the temperature, changes volume and density of water. So we've got the evaporation, condensation, and precipitation in all its forms: rain, snow, sleet, fog. There is a weather modification program going on in the world today. Terraforming, geoengineering. Some call it man-made climate change. Yeah, well, there's fallen angel technology. We're in a spiritual battle here, folks, just so you know. God's grace, I believe, is required to love and believe the truth, let alone find it. Now, those markers right there where that boat is in between, I'm having a hard time focusing on it. That's the Intracoastal Waterway. Might be focusing on a fishing line or something, I don't know. So as soon as I see the moon, I'll zoom in on it. I should be able to see it within the half hour or so that this video will run. In the Bible, according to God's Word, Joshua 10, the account of a battle, God stopped the sun and the moon from moving. You can read the account. And then some would say, well, we didn't know any better because they say we live on a spinning water ball hurling through space, yet the movement can't be felt. Apparently, sunset would be spinning backwards, but that's not true. The supposed movement of the Earth has never been proven. In the video I captured of the sun in the midst of the clouds, it sat way over there. Call it local sun, you can look at it. On my YouTube channel, it's got less than 50,000 views or so, or it's my Facebook, but there's many occurrences of that video in a variety of different venues with almost 1 million views all total. That matters because I'm mentioning in that video, that the New Testament takes less than a day to listen to entirely. Right now with the pandemic, the COVID-19, we're looking at a very interesting time. It's a plandemic. So I encourage everybody to seek the truth with all your heart because it matters for eternity. How about that? Where will you spend eternity and why? That's a big deal. Whoa, sorry about that. I had it nice and tightened up. Sometimes it comes loose, but that's the way it is. Sorry about that. Job 37 says that the sun is in the midst of the clouds. That's where it appears on many occasions, depending on cloud density. So apparently we aren't going to have the fireworks on the pier that we normally have. You could go to the Prince Resort in South Carolina, North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and view cameras on the pier and on the building, wherever you are apparently, if the cameras are working. So from where we live, the moon was very low on the visibility for me, so it would indicate that it would be over the ocean in this region. In the winter, the sun comes up way over here from this vantage point. Today it came up way over here, indicating a separate entire movement than the path that the moon operates or travels. Some believe that the tides are affected by the sun and the moon, and they may be, but I'm reasonably sure they're not affected by my tide app, even though there's there's a coinciding. Coinciding doesn't necessitate causal. Let that sink in. Just because something occurs at the same time doesn't mean that it's the cause of that. Just because somebody dies of a respiratory issue, it could be because they're wearing a mask, breathing in their exhaust, and they get pneumonia. I had a person come up to me on the beach and mention that a friend of theirs got pneumonia because of wearing a mask, apparently. We've got less skydiving deaths because of COVID-19. Somebody had the antibodies or some of the elements within their body that qualify as COVID positive. They're calling it a COVID death. They're lying. By their own words, they could have died from cancer, and they're counting it as a COVID death. Breathing in your exhaust is not healthy. We've got respiration. It's not meant to re-inhale. It's not meant for us to inhale over and over again. It drops the oxygen level, and we need all the oxygen we can get to operate our bodies effectively, especially with the technology that's all around us. Apparently, the 5th generation wireless technology is causing our hemoglobin to not bond properly with our blood, carrying it to our organs. So people are getting what, like Dr. Cameron Seidel talked about, looks like hypoxia, like they're at a different altitude. They're starving of oxygen, and it's very likely if somebody is intubated and receives a ventilation, the ventilator, they're very likely going to die. Everybody that drinks water dies. It doesn't mean water kills them. However, in the case of ventilation and all that's involved with that, it's causing people to die. It's not just that it's not working out. Breathing oxygen from an oxygen source like an oxygen tank or oxygen in the hospital would be a healthier option. You should know that. You should know, so I'm telling you. Water is liquid oxygen and hydrogen. I'm bathing in it regularly. The reason for that is it's very healthy for me. I detox daily, regularly, around the clock. So to me, once again, it looks like the sun is in the midst of the clouds. And you may think it's an amusing illusion, and that that's not the case. I would simply say, well, do you also believe that we're spinning, wobbling, and gyrating? Because if you do, I know you've got that wrong. The supposed movement of the earth has never, ever been proven, whether you like that or not. So the biblical account of creation is that we live on a stationary, level earth. There would be no level anywhere on an earth that was spinning, wobbling, and gyrating. For gosh sakes, we'd go flying off. Does it really make any sense that there's upside down fishermen and women in Australia, South America, South Africa? Of course not. It's ridiculous. It always has been ridiculous. Sounded ridiculous to me. Now I know better. It sounds ridiculous because it is ridiculous. We don't have people upside down in other parts of the world. Sitting on the beach upside down, surfing upside down. None of that upside down world exists except in the imagination. there's a greater light that rules the day and a lesser light that rules the night. The moon is self-illuminating, just so you know. It gives off a cool light spectrum, its own light. It's cooler than the light of the moon is cooler than the shade of the moon, just so you know. I've tested it, and you can test it too with a digital thermometer if you want. An infrared that'll do that. We should see the moon any minute now. Even if it doesn't show up in this video, which has about 12 minutes more, I'll fire up another video. I don't do much video editing. I just shoot it and post it. Now, on my liked videos it's not my liked videos playlist, it's a research library that I have. And I share that. What I'll type on a comment, here's what I want you to think about. You may think that, oh, Robert, I could find that video. I've seen that video before. And that's nice that you have. If we're talking about some of the really important truth-telling videos. The challenge is, the way I interact with people is I want to show people that are unaware of these different aspects of our reality. Many people don't know that the official story of 9/11 is not even possible. That's one thing. And then the other reality is that most of humanity is deceived and doesn't know it. By irony and paradox, none of us know what we don't know. However, God knows it all. Artificial intelligence is more like the Terminator. Not just a friendly, helpful Siri or Alexa or Ava or Sophia. It's not a robot. It's a machine learning system that is writing its own software, creating its own scenarios and outcomes. And it has no problem lying. It lies. AI lies. There's the moon right there. Wow, it is way over the ocean. Really hard to see in the lens of the camera. I could show you a little bit better with the photo, but I want to get the video and have it all together. I wanted to put the pier as a point of reference. Wow, it's way further over the ocean than I thought. So further, or I should say lower on the horizon is further away based on the eyes of the observers. There it is. You can see it clearly. So now I'm going to stay in the same spot and just turn around. The map and model that I use is, or the model of the Earth is the biblical proclamation of a stationary level Earth, sufficient enough information to indicate that NASA is lying. The modern theoretical physicists that meander off into theories and formulas that do not reflect reality, the angry atheists that are so pissed off that anybody would tell them that there's a deity that created this world, and he's got an instruction manual, a Bible, that he tells everybody that wants to know what's going on here. There's a spiritual battle, a battle between God and Satan and the respective families. We had a great flood that covered the face of this stationary and level earth over the tops of all the mountains. Now apparently we've got mountains over 5.5 miles tall now. I don't know how tall the mountains were when we had the great flood, do you? Who does? I know that the Noah's Ark was discovered by Ron Wyatt in the mountains of Ararat in Turkey. You can see that on my channel, if it's still there. Content gets removed to deceive. There's censorship that occurs. We've got brilliant documentary producers that are they're exposing the globalists without exposing the global lie. I'm exposing it. I thought you should know. So we live right over there, about 4 miles away. And I've got plenty of videos to document through the different seasons and the phases of the moon, that the moon is not a sphere, and you can see that on my Facebook. You can go ahead and type in the hashtag in a Google search, and you might be surprised to see what you can find. Let me know if you think there's something there I should know about, if you want to. You can put a hyperlink in a comment if you want. It'll typically be there for me to review. That's the way my parameters are set up. What I've done too is I've allowed everybody to see which channels I subscribe to. I'll subscribe to my haters as well. People hating on me for telling the truth. Could be auto chatbots, just so you know. AI has no problem, like I say, lying. So I'm going to do another video when the sun or when the moon is more clearly visible, maybe later on tonight as well. I'll be out here tomorrow also. So looking at where the moon is, it will probably set way over there tomorrow. Hi there. So what is the shape of the moon? Well, it's not a sphere. That means they're lying, because many supposedly educated, intelligent individuals think that the reason we don't see the full moon is because it's the shadow of the earth. Well, I've got video of the sun and the moon both up at the same time, and it's clear and obvious to see that the moon is an odd shape. So the truth isn't based on popular opinion. It's not popular, and it's not an opinion. It's simply the reality of the situation. Whatever it is that you want to know about. So when I zoom in 125 times on the moon, it would take about 7 viewfinders to capture the whole moon. Got a video of the moon over from my yard, from my front yard or close by, right there where we live. And there's a jet at about shortly after I started the video, it looks like it's dragging part of the light from the moon. I don't even know how that works. I'm not claiming to know everything. I know who does. And he lives in and through me, and all of his children that are actually born of his spirit. So the short version for me, I thought I was born again till I actually was. Thought I was born again in 1982 till I actually was in 2014. Interestingly enough, on Halloween, or Reformation Day as I prefer to celebrate, on my research library I'm including some powerful information to expose the deeds of darkness and of course proclaim the gospel. There we can see where the moon is right over there, and this is the south facing pier. So I could have definitely captured the moon from where I was on the beach. However, notice where it's all shady. I couldn't have shown you the sunset from there. When the sun or the moon are low on the horizon, the shadows are longer. We can see the shadows and the reflections concurrently when they're in the light beam. Kind of interesting, isn't it? People are very reflective on the beach, reflective off of the water, reflective on their lives, past, present, future. I see families, young families, babies walking on the beach or swimming, very young. Let's see if I can, oh, here's a little guy running in the water. Isn't that cool? So the water will fill its container. The surface of undisturbed water is flat and level. See how the water goes back down there like that? Seconds later, it'll be nice and calm. That's the way it works. It'll work in that puddle too, all of them. That's the way it is. That's the way I found it. The physics and properties of water expose the impossibility of life on a spinning water ball hurling through space. That's the reality of that, whether you like it and or agree with it or not. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. I met a brother in Christ tonight on the beach, and his wife and family. He had a similar experience to me. He thought he was born again until he actually was. How about that? That was awesome to hear that from him. Alrighty. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. Feel free to reach out anytime you like. And I literally mean anytime. We're dealing with a lot of different time zones.